Hi there. In this lecture we see Bobby Fischer against Rouse in a simultaneous display in 1964. We have a fantastic example here of the LOLLI attack. So we have knight g5, black plays d5, e takes, and now knight takes d5. So this is considered a bad move basically. Black should be playing knight a5, the Palerio defense, and be gambiting a pawn. This is really accepted that it's one of the best ways that black should play it. So knight takes d5 is considered a mistake because we either have knight takes f7, which by the way the queen was attacking the knight, the fried liver attack, which is very dangerous, or the LOLLI attack protects the knight. So here we see an example of the LOLLI attack. We have e takes d4. White has a very clear advantage after e takes d4. It seems here black's best is knight takes d4. So after c3, b5, because if black moves the knight, we're just going to take on d5 here. Say the knight moves, we're just going to take on d5, winning material. So b5, after d4, knight takes d4. So this would have been better than e takes d4. So c3, b5 is the key move. Bishop d3, and now another key move is basically h6. And here white must play knight takes f7. So this position, c takes, e takes, we get a decent enough position here after bishop takes b5. This is an interesting position in its own right, with featuring black's best play, and black can try and crudely come and try and checkmate us here soon with bishop b7, but we've got bishop f3 now. That's the point of bishop e2, to be able to play bishop f3. And even after bishop d6, there's a really fantastic trick here that we can make use of. We can play bishop f3, and they answer with queen e5, so we can't take that rook, because then they'll mate us. So guess what we play here for 100 points. It's a really super neat trick to be aware of. Yeah, bishop f4, queen takes, and the point is to get this tempo g3, so we fend off the mate, and then we're able to take on a8 with a big advantage. So just to recap, opponents may not play e takes d4. That's fantastic news if they do. If so, let's assume less good news, knight takes d4. This is perhaps black's absolute best move. c3, and we're following black's best moves, b5. We put the bishop on d3. We assume they play h6. Now knight takes f7 has to be played. Anything else, black's going to have a small edge. They could take on f3 and c6. They've got a small edge. So we have to take on f7. And we get this position where, yeah, it looks as though black may be trying to point at g2. We're able to actually take b5 out. And then here, it looks dangerous, but now we're ready with bishop f3, bishop b7. And even in the case of bishop d6, we can still play bishop f3. We don't want to take the rook to get mated. We play bishop f4, and we're getting a nice advantage here. So, okay, so that's with knight takes d4. But in this game, e takes d4. This is a super fantastic position for white. Okay, Fischer castles. Bishop e7. We've got an improved fried liver. We've actually got fried liver version 2.0 here. If bishop c5, we can play knight takes f7 here. King takes, queen f3 check, king e6, rook e1 check, knight e5, bishop f4. So we get two absolutely painful pins, absolute pins. And here, something's giving basically. How does black actually defend e5? If black plays bishop d6, we're going to take out the d5 knight and just start winning material. So bishop c5 is a really bad idea. Bishop e7 is played. But now knight takes f7. We've got an improved fried liver because our king's castled here. Queen f3 check. We have king e6. If bishop f6, we have bishop takes d5 check, taking on e6. And this is quite a comfortable position. That e4 square is quite pleasant to use. So we're actually in good shape here. We're positionally better after knight e4. It's a nice juicy e4 square to make use of. We've got a better pawn structure, a safer king. Overall, this is better for white. So bishop f6 though is one of the better options, as well as king e8. If king e8, bishop takes d5, they do have rook f8 against the threat of queen f7. We have check, and what we can do here is bishop takes c6 check, queen takes h7, and this position we're now threatening after rook e1, queen takes e7 checkmate. So we end up being better here. This is better for us. Okay, so yeah, these were the two like decent, you know, in the circumstance, decent options. Bishop f6 or rook e1, bishop f6 or king e8. But the opponent brings the king up, trying to hold d5, quite materialistic. So we have rook e1 check, knight e5. So these two absolute pins. Bishop f6. So black's trying to hold both knights. Here now we have absolute brilliance, which reflects also Paul Morphy. Basically a move that Paul Morphy would have certainly considered. What would you play for 100 points? Yeah, knight c3, putting immediate pressure on d5, inviting black to open up the position. c6 is played. If d takes c3, we can play here rook takes e5 check, bishop takes, and rook e1. And now we're going to start winning the material with interest. So bishop takes e5 check, and here bishop takes e6. So we've got two bishops for a rook, and the king's really unsafe. The king's going to get mated pretty shortly. So this situation, we've got huge threats now emerging. So for example, queen g7 check, queen takes h7 check, h4 check, and bishop e5 is one example of a checkmate. So yeah, c6, trying to keep things, you know, holding the knights now, both knights. But yeah, Fischer is now playing like Morphy here. So for 100 points, what would you play here? So rook takes e5 check. We have king f7. So the thing is, if bishop takes e5, we bring the other rook to bear on e5. Rook f8, and we can play here knight takes d5. After c takes, we can play rook takes e5 check. Bishop takes d5 check, and it's absolutely crushing. But really, to avoid getting mated, the best move might be to give up the queen. It's hopeless. And also here, if rook takes f4, we just play queen takes f4. This position, knight b6, discovered check. And then we can take out e5, then we can take out a8. We're winning lots of material, basically. So king f7 was tried. We have knight takes d5. And now bishop e6. If c takes d5, bishop takes d5 check. This position, we just build up on the e file. Here, this is a rather desperate looking move. Queen takes g4, queen takes d5. It's all desperate. This is all very, very desperate stuff, if that's black's best move. But we've got huge threats like queen e6 coming. So yeah, it's just completely lost for black here. On c takes d5. Let's say h6 without the desperate bishop g4, rook e8 check, and here bishop d6 check, and here we can just take out e7. That's crushing. The bishop's absolutely pinned. So okay, we have bishop e6, and now Fischer mows his way through. So what would be a mowing the way through to the king move for 10 points? Yeah, rook takes e6, pretty violent game here. Knight takes f6, discovered check. King e7, rook e1 check. King f8. Now, my question to you, there's 3 different mate in 2s here. This is a good opportunity to test our tactics for mate in 2s. Fischer actually played a mate in 3, potentially. So there's actually a mate in 2 here. In 3 different ways. So you might want to pause the video for that. 3 different ways. One is, I'm going to show you now, knight takes h7 check. Means actually we've set up a double check and mate. Bishop d6 is double check and mate. There's also knight d7 check, which is also clearing out the f-file for a double check and mate. There's also bishop d6 check, setting up a different form of double check and mate with knight d7. and mate. So those are super cute. But Fischer actually played here Queen A3 check. This is slightly slower. It's a mate in 3. Black could delay things with Black resigned. But Black could delay with C5. It's been silly if Black does delay. But this is, okay, mate in 3. But yeah, from a theoretical perspective, this LOLLI attack is super dangerous. And yeah, give engines enough time, and they do actually determine, it seems, at higher depths, that this is the most accurate way to play. Instead of playing knight takes f7, the FIDE attack, play the LOLLI attack instead, where e takes d4 is a huge mistake, giving us a much improved version, essentially, of the FIDE attack, where certain key defenses are not available later because our king's safely castled. This is a fantastic version of events. Black needed to play knight takes d4 here, so we get this critical line c3, b5, just to recap. Here where they play h6, we need knight takes f7, and we end up being better in this position. We've got a better pawn structure, and yeah, we can, if Black leaves b5 to be taken here as an example, we can take that and retreat the bishop. We can defend our king, basically. There was a cute line I gave where we can play bishop f4 and then g3 and then take this rook as example. Okay, so anyway, but after e takes d4, just to recap here, this is such an improved, like, fried liver. This is a fantastic fried liver. And it matches up with a Paul Morphy game, which you'll be able to see actually later, because someone actually went for a bad move order in a different move order to reach the LOLLI attack position. We can reach it if Black's playing badly from the open variation. So later, if you see the open variation, there's a game of Paul Morphy, which is going to ring a bell to this game. So with knight g5, d5, e takes, Black went into knight takes d5, you know, and we've got the LOLLI attack position. Black should have, in this move order, have played queen e7 check, which I do discuss in that section of the open variation. But anyway, yeah, so this is a fantastic model game for the LOLLI attack, showing how dangerous this d4 move is. We're castling first before doing the violent stuff, and it reduces Black's options when our king's safely castled like this. So yes, technically superior, in fact, to the fried liver attack. Okay, thanks so much. Hi there, I hope you enjoyed that game sample. It's actually from my course, which you can find at the Kingscrusher TV page, which has great discounts. It's the Italian game Mastery, the Ideal Beginner's Opening. So just very briefly, if we click there, you can also see other free sample videos. Just do expand all sections, and you can see these preview links if you want to see other free previews and get an idea of the course yourself. I'm going to keep it short here. Just basically to say I had a fantastic time seeing many, many brilliant games in the Italian game. You can see from the number of collections how epic some of these games are, that they've been collected like hundreds of times at chessgames.com. And yeah, I really hope you check out this index and may consider getting the course. Okay. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks so much.